And ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I'd just like to start, being as there's a lot of people in here that are not used to council meetings, by reading out the following. Bude-Stratton Town Council has signed the NALC Civility and Respect Pledge. Civility and respect should be at the heart of public life, and good governance is fundamental to ensuring an effective and well-functioning democracy at all levels. The intimidation, abuse, bullying and harassment of councillors, clerks and council staff in person or online is unacceptable, whether by councillors, clerks, council staff or public members. Any person adjudged by the chair of the meeting to have breached this rule may be asked to apologise, withdraw their statement and or leave the meeting. That having been said, welcome everybody. It's lovely to see so many people here, and it's wonderful to see nearly a full house of councillors here as well. Without much ado, I will move to public participation. Members of the public are invited to comment on matters within the parish. Okay, what I will do is, there are so many of you that I will simply ask for people to put their hands up. Could you put your hands up if you wish to comment? Okay, I'll start with Mr. Bennett.
Oh, good evening. Just to let you know that I run the office, the council office, and they've arranged for me to go to the meeting on the 21st in the office about the expenditure of the Bude.
Yeah, versus Stratton. Yeah.
There was nothing in Stratton.
Yeah.
It's all spent in Bude. Okay.
So I'm glad that that's happening. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Could you put your hands up again? Because I'll be asking this every time, just to make sure I get everyone. You, sir.
Good evening. I'm a bit scruffy, but I had a bit of a rush to get here from work, and I'm going to have to read from the computer because I didn't do my notes. I want to speak about the Climate Partnership and your continued support for the organisation. The Climate Partnership first came to my attention, I think it was December 22 or January 23, when they got a £2 million grant from the National Lottery. And I heard of this on a Radio 4 interview with the VCP representative. The impression that I got from that interview is that the representative didn't really have a clue what they were going to do with £2 million. But that ideas going forward, and indeed some have. Climate change is happening. I agree. Much science says that there will be rises in sea level, and I agree that Bude may need some serious climate protection from tidal rises and other climate change effects. The Bude Climate Partnership website states that there are a group of 12 organisations working on positive climate change projects to future-proof the Bude area. I have no idea what future-proofing means. It hasn't been explained to me. And it appears to be one of many sound bites that don't result in practical action to save Bude from climate change effects, which according to the Climate Partnership's own maps and claims is a serious pressing issue. Instead of practical measures, it seems to me that the £2 million grant seems to be being spent on reducing a carbon footprint, on creating sustainable tourism, on achieving energy efficiency, on the shoreline, on community growing, on a library of things, and on community storytelling. Now, in my view, no focus on any of those things except one stands any chance, any practical chance, of saving you from climate change flooding effects. And I have no idea why Bude Climate Partnership is spending any of a £2 million grant on things that do not have a practical climate change protection grant. In my view, the entire nation could reduce its carbon footprint to zero. It would have no lessening effect on the potential of climate change flooding in this town. Tourism to Bude inevitably evokes, in my opinion, a high carbon cost. We are remote. We have poor public transport links. So travel by car here is common and high carbon. And I see no practical policy, PCP policy that will alter that fact. And I don't see anything in their sustainable tourism policy that will save views from climate change flooding effects. The energy efficiency drive did have some positive effects I understood as a heat electric engineer. Yet that policy is in disarray after what I understand is some skullduggery by the provider.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
You must be careful about talking about
the situation, sir.
and can I say to you, when you say provider,
Yeah.
from what I know, the provider, sometimes there are individuals and there's providers.
Yeah, I understand.
And from what I know of the provider has acted appropriately in difficult circumstances. Sorry.
Again, I don't think that energy saving policy, while it is a benefit to householders, I don't believe it would do one little bit to save you from any climate change flood. Community growing is a good thing. It saves food miles, it teaches useful skills, but it's not going to feed the town, and it is not going to reduce practical, it's not a practical measure to reduce climate change flooding in this town. The same principle applies to the Library of Things. It's lovely that I can hire a lawnmower to cut my grass instead of buying one, but it's not going to save the town from flooding. Why any of a £2 million grant is being wasted on projects that, in my opinion, are pointless from a point of flooding protection, I have no idea. The one project that I had hopes for, sorry, there was one more I meant to mention, the community storytelling. Storytelling. In my view, that is the biggest nonsense to come from this organisation. What protection it's going to give us, I have no idea, and I don't know if anybody can explain what it will protect us from. The one thing that I thought would give us protection was the shoreline project. That, in my view, could have invoked practical steps to protect you from the BCP claimed reality, one that I believe, of climate change flooding. That led to creation of a climate jury and suggestions from them of some practical steps. Now, I won't go into great detail about it, but one suggestion was to increase the dunes in Summerlees car park. And that's a suggestion that I and many others question, because I don't believe it will be effective. And from some loose experts that I've talked to, I and they actually believe it will increase the risk of flood harm to Bude. On that basis, I vehemently disagree with that. Lots of other people also disagree with it. And most seriously, in relation to this topic, it led to a 60-page complaint being made in the name of Bude Climate Partnership against one of your fellow councillors and a Cornwall councillor. I believe it has been judged by Cornwall Council that that councillor did nothing more than properly represent the views of the electorate. Spoke to him about it. In relation to this, I believe, we've had meetings about it, I believe that every councillor in this room is aware that that complaint was created and submitted to Cornwall Council in what I can't think of any other way to describe it as anything less than a fraudulent manner. And I mean that in the most serious aspect of the word, fraudulent. I also believe that every councillor in this room is aware that you Climate Partnership partners and this council voted to support that complaint only after you knew it had been submitted and that you voted to support that complaint without actually having seen what it was.
Okay,
And that has been told to me by a councillor.
okay, well, can another councillor explain to you two things?
Yeah. Is
that no councillor can interfere with the process of a complaint against another councillor. They can't. So
you're talking very fine lines here. I am talking about a principle of proper government, proper leadership, proper example for new people.
I take your opinion, and I understand you're offering your opinion, but I just wanted to clarify if you were unsure that no councillor of any sort can interfere with a complaint against another councillor, no matter where it comes from.
That's all very well. It stands that I believe you're all aware that a fraudulent document was submitted from council against a current councillor, and that is entirely improper to support. So, going a bit further, that alone, in my view, is a perfectly adequate reason for none of you to support further New Climate Partnership until at least their management is sorted out. At the moment, it is not. We were promised that it would be, it is not. The promised chair refused to take the position. Our poor deputy town clerk was in that position when I'm sure it compromised him and that he shouldn't have been. And I am aware of other individuals around this table that have held the position of chair or intend to hold the position of chair. I'm also aware of individuals around this room who are members of organisations or even employed by organisations that are given support by the Climate Partnership. And in that instance, I think there are probably 5 of you that I can think of that should be declaring an interest and having nothing to do with this vote this evening. So overall, my opinion, people, is you shouldn't continue to support future partnership, and that if you do, it is my feeling as a member of the public that you bring yourself and this entire council into grave disrepute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody else would like to say something? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for your indulgence tonight, because what I expect to be discussed, or what I hope will be discussed, will be quite new to a lot of the members of the public. Yourselves and other fellow councillors may know a lot of things that we don't, and when they're discussed, I would like the opportunity for maybe some of us to have a say if we want to. And therefore, I was hoping that first, this is an extraordinary meeting, and I'm hoping, therefore, I'm asking the indulgence of the chair to make sure that we, as members of the public, maybe have some say at Parliament, because we're going to get information that we know nothing about. I'm sure of that, unless, of course, you go into private session.
At this point, I've no intention of requesting we go into a private session for anything. At this point, public participation happens now, unless the chair decides there's a really good reason why somebody should be asked a question or talk about something. At this point, I'm not going to commit myself one way or the other, because, to be honest, I would like us to talk as freely as possible, as freely as we can. I would like us to consider this in as much detail as we can, but it is our decision to make. I'd like to discover the right decision today, whatever that is. I approach this with an open mind. And just to clarify for members of the public, I have been chair of BCP for a short while, an interim chair. And I absolutely checked with the legal department of Cornwall Council whether I should be in the room and so forth. And they confirmed to me that it was perfectly appropriate for me to chair this meeting, for me to discuss things as much as I can, and to vote when it came to it. But I must really underline that I come to this entirely with an open mind. Okay. Anybody else wish to make a comment at this point? Yes, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, thank you. I think there's a lot of scaremongering going on about climate change in here. Yeah. Why is Woodmouth Bay not affected? Why is Northcote Mouth not affected? Why is Boscastle not affected? Or Crackington Avon or anywhere else? The sheer volume in this valley is because of all the building in these valleys and the river mounting up against the tide, and what they've done to the breakwater in '92 ruined the breakwater, as you know, I've spoken to it before. When we were kids, we could walk along the top of that breakwater on the highest tide, and it would come up to your ankles. Now, you can't go across that breakwater on a medium tide.
Yeah. Because
the water is being pushed down this river, holding the sea back there, and then that comes over the breakwater. And I think there's a lot of scaremongering about you being affected by climate change.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I say something, please?
Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec.
Sorry.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I expect, as a member of the public, from parish councillors, county councillors, and even elected MPs, irrespective of your party affiliations, I expect common sense, balance, and pragmatism. And I don't want to see this constant thing about net zero on steroids, which is going to really damage our community and damage our countryside and damage everything that's been made up, built Cornwall. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of wrecking. There's a wrecking ball going through Cornwall already. Every village, every hamlet, every town I drive through has got new housing. Not for locals, primarily, but for newcomers. And I don't see why this beautiful county of ours and this beautiful area of ours should be spoiled by tarmac, concrete, housing, not even for local people, mostly for newcomers. We don't need it. We don't want it. Please, can we have balance? Can we have pragmatism? Can we have common sense from our councillors and our elected representatives? Because we haven't had a great deal in recent years. That's just my view.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here.
Okay, I'm just double checking that nobody else wants to say anything. Okay, this moves us into item 1 on our agenda, which is to receive apologies and accept the reasons for any non-attendance. Oh.
Yes, we've received apologies from Councillor Tame for personal reasons and from Councillor O'Sullivan, who's suffered a family bereavement, unfortunately.
Okay. Do I have a proposer to accept those? Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Unanimous. Moving on to number 2. To receive any number 2 has a slight mistake in the wording of the agenda. It's missed out something which is absolutely standard. So I'll just bear with me. It should say to receive any declarations of interest on items of the agenda and to receive any dispensations for those. So do we have any?
I have received a request for a dispensation from Councillor Le Broy, and he's explained the reason for that. He has said that for the sake of transparency, I'm a non-executive director of Bude Area Tourist Board, which is a delivery partner to Bude Climate Partnership. As I am unpaid, there is no pecuniary or personal interest. However, the activities of Bude Area Tourist Board may in turn be affected by the decision of the council. There are other delivery partners, and I feel it is important that our debate should fairly account for all stakeholders. This topic is of much local interest, and I wish to take part in the meeting and be able to vote. I intend to faithfully represent the community I listen to and will take into consideration the debate during the meeting. I've taken advice from Calc on this issue prior to the meeting. Seeking a dispensation for this business is the appropriate action.
Okay. So.
I need to do the same as a director of formal growth. I just didn't.
Okay. So we have 2 requests for dispensations. I need a proposer to accept. There's a proposer there. Yep. Do I have a seconder? Yep. Okay. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. So, number 3. Okay. Item 3.
Yeah, it wasn't unanimous because Councillor Bride didn't vote.
Oh, I apologise, Councillor. So, yeah, Councillor LeBroy abstained. Councillor Birch, of course. I apologise. That's my first mistake of the night. Okay, so item 3. Minutes of our last full council, which was ages ago on the 9th of January 2025. And it's simply, do I have a proposer to approve the minutes? Yes, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Okay. All those against? All those abstaining? Did you volunteer? There we go. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now this brings us to item 4. Item 4 is to resolve to terminate the partnership arrangement between BSTC and BCP. Now, this item and this meeting was originally requested by Councillor O'Sullivan and some other councillors. Traditionally, Councillor O'Sullivan would then lead the debate by introducing the motion and the rest. Obviously, because Councillor O'Sullivan cannot be with us here tonight, I'm going to throw it open to councillors. Would any councillor like to introduce this debate?
I'd like to ask a question. I'm aware that you've stood down as chair of BCP, and I think you've stood down as deputy. Do we know who the new chair and deputy are? Effectively, is there leadership of them right now? It's not a trick question.
No. The last I heard, there is no chair and vice chair.
We're back to rudderless. Okay. All right. Nobody in charge, basically, darling.
Right.
Used to be.
Councillor Broy.
I think we need to get the ball rolling. We'll be a little bit shy on this. Perhaps through you, I could ask the town clerk a question of how much time and effort and difficulty perhaps she has experienced in supporting Bude Climate Partnership over recent months.
I'm happy to answer. Yeah, so it has taken up a significant amount of my time, it has to be said. A large proportion of my working week has been devoted to dealing with these issues. Unfortunately, I hadn't actually logged the time, and if I had that information, I would certainly share it with you. But it has been considerable, and yes, it's been quite a lot of hard work.
So as a follow-up to that, and I don't wish to put words into the clerk's mouth, but could I ask her the question that would she consider that the day-to-day business of the town council has suffered as a result of the work that she's put to Bude Climate Partnership?
That's a difficult one for the clerk to answer.
I can say that all of your officers are working all the time to capacity. There's nobody sitting around twiddling their thumbs. So if I am then taken my day-to-day work is dominated by one particular activity, then that clearly does have an impact on the rest of the team and the amount of work that I have, day-to-day normal council work that I've been able to achieve. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to give the impression that I've been neglectful in any way. In terms of my duties and managing the staff. However, I can't deny that it has had an impact and things are probably taking longer to be completed than they would normally.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other councillors? Councillor Colwell.
Okay. Climate change and our response to climate change, probably one of the most divisive issues of our time. Maybe immigration is more divisive, but not by much. And the way in which local communities like ours are being asked to get our heads around this is by the community itself coming up with ideas. And that sounds really lovely, doesn't it? You know, from the bottom up, the community involvement, all of this. But the community isn't an homogenous group. There are, as I say, lots of different, diverse and strongly held opinions on this. So from sitting around this table for the last 3 years, it looks at times like a little bit of a hospital pass by Cornwall Council, by the Environment Agency and by central government. And it looks like an abdication of responsibility from them, just to chuck it back onto the community and onto parish level authorities like ourselves. So we're starting from what I think is a very difficult position. And as an old buddy from Bude, I've always been frustrated that other towns, Lanson and Liscard and Bodmin, they've always managed to get grant funding and Bude hasn't got anything. So when the Bude Climate Partnership pops up with a couple of million quid from the lottery, then that seems like it's a good idea, doesn't it? It seems like it's a positive, bringing money into the town. And of course, it seems like Bude-Stratton Town Council should be supporting that to bring money into the town. But it has become apparent that Bude Climate Partnership is not really fit for purpose. And maybe, if we're perfectly honest, it never has been. So this enthusiasm for the climate partnership, this enthusiasm for the delivery, that has waned in me. And it now looks more like a burden than an opportunity. And that's very sad. So I think we need to split out tonight the organisation that is Bude Climate Partnership from the employees that are working hard and doing a good job, and from the projects. And I know that members of the public have suggested that these projects are worthless, but I think there are some good ones in there. So the question is for us, do we pull the plug? And what are the implications of withdrawing as lead partner? Because if we just say tonight, I want to withdraw as lead partner, does that cut off any opportunity for the climate partnership to get its act together? Does that cut off any opportunity for it to find another lead partner? and for it to find another way forward. So I suggest, and it's not a formal proposal, but it's just something to think about, that maybe tonight we give notice to the Bude Climate Partnership that for all kinds of historical reasons, we are not ready to be lead partner anymore. But give them an opportunity to find another lead partner and to find another route forward. That's my thoughts.
Thank you. Councillor Herbert Coulson.
If I could just recap on this, back in October 2022, under urgency procedures, we had a debate about Bude-Stratton Town Council being the lead partner and accountable body for the lottery funding bid submitted by Bude Climate Partnership. I felt very much at that time that it was a shotgun wedding, that we were not being given enough time to look into what we were actually getting into. And that was my feeling at the time. Going forward from that, 29th of November, we received as councillors an email which gave a draft partnership agreement, a draft offer letter, etc., etc. 23rd of January, it was envisaged that the time that Bude-Stratton Town Council personnel, officers, would spend helping Bude Climate Partnership would be 17 to 25 hours over a year. I feel that that has actually become 17 to 25 hours.
Day. Sorry.
No, well, over a couple of days a week, which is totally unsustainable for this council. I feel that the skate park project, which I know is very dear to somebody's heart,
I'll be going there in a minute.
which I might be against because it's the Downs, has suffered from that. I feel there's other areas of the council that have suffered. If we look at Bude Climate Partnership itself, if you go onto Company's House and do a search, there's been quite a few resignations. They do not manage to keep anybody working with the sole director, which says to me that unfortunately...
There are two directors.
Okay, there's two directors. Yes, sorry, there is two directors.
One of whom is not specifically an individual.
Yeah, no, sorry. But it says to me that there is serious issues there. And I think the issue on the table tonight is very much about what we as councillors were elected to do. Were we elected to help Bude, or were we elected to direct our officers to run Bude Climate Partnership? I think that is what it comes down to. And I strongly feel that our business is running Bude Town.
Yeah.
And looking at that, and looking for the future of Bude, not the future of Bude Climate Partnership. That's the nitty-gritty as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Councillor Daw.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up. You probably said it better than I will. When we did join this partnership and take on the role of lead, I chaired the meeting, and my final question before we went to a vote was to ask the person giving the presentation, I don't think I'm allowed to name them, person giving the presentation, would this have any impact on officer time? And I was told categorically, no, it would not. That has proven to be drastically wrong. And Vicky has hit the nail on the head. I remember coming in to the office in June, possibly July, to get an update on the youth facility project and the skate park project. And I was told by a very distressed council officer, council staff member, that they hadn't even looked at it that month, because all they were doing was dealing with the fallout of the actions of the same person that gave the presentation. God, I have to choose my words so carefully now, don't I? Give me 2 seconds so I don't end up in the media. Yeah,
If you want to pause, Councillor.
No, it has proved to be drastically wrong. I think Vicky has made the point. We are effectively running BCP. I think we took on the chairing of it around that time, June, July, through the deputy clerk. We've then swung through the clerk doing it in a sort of quasi chair / secretarial role. We obviously said that was no longer. You have then stepped in. That is a hot seat. It's a hand grenade that nobody wants to grasp. And there is an underlying reason for that. And then we get this report, this internal review, which again, I am not entirely sure what I'm allowed to say about it and what I'm not, but it is frankly appalling. And I feel sorry for the staff working in that, but I mean BCP staff and our staff that are having to work with it and any other delivery partner, because some of their comments allude to an environment that is so toxic, I can't imagine putting somebody through it. And yeah, I personally think our only option here is to withdraw, whether we do it in a stage as suggested by Kevin, or whether we just pull the plug. I'm undecided. I could be swayed either way, but for me to vote for us to continue, I would need some very big questions answered, and I would need to actually be able to trust the answer, which, given what has gone on before, when I asked the big question to get us into this, I think I would struggle to do. And that is indicative of the problem. There is a massive breakdown in trust, not just here. We've all read this report. Obviously, you lot haven't, and I can't give you the ins and outs of it. I've been told that quite clearly. But that was one of the key things that came up there as well, was a lack of trust. I nearly said what they scored it out of 5 then, but we all read it. So I'll stop there before I do get myself in trouble. But
Thank you, Councillor. I was going to. Sorry for trying to interrupt you. I wasn't.
No, that's fine.
I was going to specify that I didn't step up as chair, as anything as mayor of the council.
Yeah.
It's an individual choice at that point in time.
Yeah.
But that was my personal thing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't know how.
It doesn't take away from anything that you said there.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to Councillor Jennings and then you, Deputy Mayor.
All the time that the council staff spent working on it, were they paid for it by the climate people? Or was that paid for by the Bude-Stratton council taxpayers?
There's no specific payment made to officers for working in connection with BCP, except there is funding that's provided to BCP, which is part of the time of the finance officer in order to organise the accounts for BCP, which is the figures and timings that Councillor Herbert Coulson was quoting.
So basically then they've been getting the labour from the council staff for nothing?
Yes. Basically, there's been no payment made to officers for work that they've done most recently.
So what are they doing with this £2 million they got then?
That's a slightly different question.
I mean, surely we should put a bill into them now then to get some money back.
That's an interesting question. Maybe we should take it up with the lottery.
They got the money.
Councillor Hannah.
I had a statement that I'd like to read if
Yes, please.
you'll indulge me. As one of the 2 BSTC representatives on the partnership, I've worked alongside partners and staff for a prolonged period of time. And I wish to pay tribute to the hard work, dedication and professionalism of all involved. I also wish to give my thanks to the clerk and deputy clerk of the council for their continued hard work and professionalism. I consider it an inconvenient truth that climate breakdown and sea level rise are a threat to the future of our coastal communities. This is a difficult situation which has ramifications for the people of our towns and wider communities now and in the future. I feel a sense of sadness
in that I no longer believe that it's in the interests of either party to continue this relationship. I strongly believe that having a political organisation like the Council as lead partner has politicised the work of the Climate Partnership in an unforeseen and detrimental way. Council staff have also worked on the partnership-related activities in a way that was not foreseen when the original agreement was signed. I'm sad to say, in my opinion, neither of these aspects are sustainable for either party. My only request is that the Council takes any decision in a way that empowers partners to best move forward as they choose, and which best enables the partnership to seek other solutions and to move forward without BCP engagement or political pressure. I must be clear that I believe withdrawing the project with immediate effect is not viable and is not something I can vote for. I do believe that if the Council is minded to leave the relationship, the best way to do so is simply to withdraw as lead partner, allowing the partners to seek another lead partner if desirable and possible. Again, I wish to offer my gratitude and thanks to all those who've worked to provide clarity and support recently in difficult and unforeseen circumstances. I firmly believe that those people working to help mitigate against the consequences of climate disruption and sea level rise are serving our community bravely and are amongst the best of us. Though any decision made this evening may represent a separation of organisations, the fight against climate disruption and sea level rise will and must continue for the sake of the people of Bude-Stratton and the wider area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm just going to say something. This is not, I'm not giving my view yet, but I will speak on this in a bit. I just wanted for clarity for members of the public that, because it's been mentioned, a couple of nuances of withdrawal and termination have been mentioned. And it's a particular point that everybody around the table, I think, is aware, but I shall just reinforce it. There are basically two ways to terminate the relationship with BCP. And it's to do with the fact that we're lead partner, because there is something here that actually I didn't know until this week. One is to withdraw as lead partner. And this would result in the project being suspended by the lottery while they work out what to do next. And it would probably go to their panel meeting, which is in March. When I say the lottery. The second choice is that apparently, and I didn't know this at all, as lead partner, BSTC has the ability to decide to withdraw the project itself, i.e. to close it down with immediate effect. So those are the two ways of terminating the relationship, just so that members of the public are aware of what's been talking about when people talk about withdraw from as lead partner or withdraw the project. Those are the two particular points. Sorry, councillors. Other councillors. Councillor Diffie.
Thank you. I won't repeat what other people have said, but I think I kind of feel that we all agree that something does have to change. The projects, in my opinion, are worthwhile. Will they solve climate change? No, but they will in some way make a small contribution towards mitigating the effects of climate change. But the structure and organisation has been problematic. I feel the most important thing we have here to consider is the timing. Our clerk did ask for the matter to be referred to the February meeting, which I think would have been very reasonable here tonight. But this is a very fast-moving, fast-evolving situation. And there is information that can't be shared, but there's also information that can be shared and is appearing, moment by moment, And some of that information which can be shared hasn't yet been shared with all the partners. And I feel that the necessary position is that all partners have the same shareable information and are allowed the chance to discuss within their own individual organisations and then discuss amongst themselves as a partnership and with the lottery, and that we allow them the time to come back with a position statement with all the information that we have at this point. So I just feel that's the fair and proper thing to do.
Okay. Councillor Purchase, and then.
I've got a bit as well, but I'll cut it down a bit. I want to thank Councillor Hannah for his piece, and I would reiterate my thanks to the STC officers, the 6 members of the BCP staff who are currently working diligently, and to all the partners who also have been working many hours of their own time through a very complex and challenging situation. I do acknowledge that there is a critical issue, that the governance and structure of BCP have proven inadequate for the challenges the partnership currently faces. While the existing framework functioned reasonably well in times of stability, it has been unable to address the significant pressures resulting from the public reaction to the Environment Agency visualisations and the backlash to perceived implications of the community jury recommendations. The partnership was, as you know, very close to resolving a number of these challenges when the events of July-August last year intervened and made finding a route back to stability and good governance very difficult. The partnership governance has been in an enforced period of stasis now for many months, and the advice from legal and HR professionals and the information surrounding the situation has of necessity been largely confidential. Since the resignations of the Chair and Vice Chair in December, the remaining partners have been working at pace to try and plot a way forward, still with much information being withheld from the majority of them and much they cannot disclose. The other partners have not been told until I told them an hour or so ago the information the Town Clerk gave us yesterday about the implications of us taking the decision to cease being lead partner. And the other partners have not been allowed to contact the lottery directly for several months. The remaining partners are aware and agree that the lead partner arrangements of BSTC is no longer a good fit and have started to explore options for finding a replacement lead partner. They have today reached out to the lottery to try and understand for themselves what options they have. I would therefore like to echo Councillor Colwell's and Councillor Diffie's request that in the light of the speed at which the situation has changed and in the light of the very recent new information, whether we could consider a period of grace for the partnership where we put off some decision making on our lead partner status for, say, another 2 months to allow the remaining partners the opportunity to discuss different options with both our officers and the National Lottery. I would ask on behalf of the partners for an opportunity for them to discuss a cooperative path forward, including ways to address governance, transparency and HR processes properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Alsbury-Watkins.
Okay, so despite new information and I've looked into it a lot before coming into this meeting, so I did come in with an open mind, I haven't changed my opinion. My opinion is that it was not transparent enough. There was not enough information given to the public and sometimes ourselves. And I think this has also almost become a separate issue to climate change. It's not about that. It's about, can this project do what's best for the town? And the answer is no. The public have lost faith in them, and it's affected how the public view us as a council, and that should never have been allowed to happen, but it did. I don't think giving them any more time is going to make any difference. I know we can't go into detail about reports and stuff that we've read, but in my personal opinion, they have had more than enough time And this meeting is way overdue. And we've discussed it before, but I think they are just not fit for purpose. And however long you give them, not that I think they need any more time. And it is unfortunate because it could have been good for the town. And I understand that there are people who are employed by them, and that is a real shame. But at the end of the day, they're not doing what they were set out to do. And that's affected us as a council and the projects, the skate park, the youth facility. These projects that this town so desperately need have just been pushed aside because this has had to take over. And that's nothing against the staff here at the council because they've done everything that they possibly can. But I think enough is enough. And I think today needs to be the day where we just call it quits.
Okay. I know there are two councillors that put their hands up immediately and wanted to say something. If councillors would just be patient with me a moment. I'm aware that there are other councillors sitting around the table who've not yet spoken. So I will come back to you if you want to sort of hold your thoughts and comment.
Yeah. It was just a response to something Philippa said, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I do want
Okay.
Yeah.
So, other councillors who've not yet spoken, would you like to say something? Councillor Moss.
Well, having read the report, I can see that if it was a private business, it would be going into liquidation pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Is the document completely confidential, or can bits be?
I'm afraid we've been advised that this is as far as we can share that document.
Right, okay.
Document specifically for partners, and being as we are partners, councillors, it was shared with you.
That in itself is not open and transparent, is it? With this council, when elected, was.
So,
hold on a sec.
it would be okay to sort of summarise.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Terms rather.
That's what I'm trying.
Yes, I'm not. I'm not stopping you talking about it. It's unfortunately it's a document that at this point can't be shared.
Well, this interim evaluation report, there was one carried out in year one, and it highlighted problems in governance. Now we're in year two, and it says that the problems that were identified have not come to be resolved. I mean, I'm trying to say it as loosely as I can. And I think one of my fellow councillors pointed out some of the charts that we see here are quite dismal reading. And I think the time has come, regrettably, to sever the partnership, and time will tell whether things will resolve themselves. I think if we give another 2 months or 3 months, we'll just be in the same position in a couple of months' time. As Councillor Cole often says, kicking the can down the road, I think it's one of my favourite expressions. So that's my.
Thank you. So firstly, I want to kind of respond a bit to some of the comments from earlier, that this project was never going to be everything Bude needed to prepare us best for climate change. It was a mixture of opportunistic ideas, and it went through for competitive bidding process for the lottery, and the lottery said it was one of the best projects proposals out there. So the lottery also had a requirement, if you like, a very strong steer that the projects taken forward should encourage economic growth and encourage employment and training opportunities. So the pitch was a bit skewed from the outset. That said, I think the projects themselves do have merit, of course, but it's undeniable the governance of the partnership has not been right. And I think, as Councillor Purchase said, when things are going well, yes, it got by, but as soon as you know, the waters got choppy, it's now led to this position where they're in stasis. So, and it's not appropriate for us to be the lead partner in a partnership that's hobbled in that sense. I am encouraged. Could be more encouraged but I'm encouraged that the lottery are now closely involved and fully aware of the situation. I'm a bit disappointed that they haven't stepped in earlier to kind of try and remedy some of those issues. So from my point of view,
the best course of action now. I do think we need to make a decision tonight, but to put that firmly in the hands of the remaining, well, it will still be a partner, but put that in the hands of the partners and the lottery to go through their process at their panel meeting, and leave it for them to try and sort out a route forward if they can. So I think, in terms of the options before us, I would support us withdrawing as lead partner and handing it over to the lottery to try and plot a way forward.
Thank you. Okay. Other councillors that would like to have a say that haven't so far? Then, before I say anything, I'll go back to Councillor Dorr first, and then Councillor.
Thank you. Just to address Philippa's suggestion that we delay the decision for 2 months, that would put us into the period of purdah where we're not allowed to make decisions before the next elections. So, as nice an idea as it is, it would literally tie our hands fully behind their back, when currently it's about 9 of my fingers tied behind my back. Yeah, so it would be a very close run thing. We might be able to make the decision, we wouldn't. So I think Councillor Browning's suggestion that we do need to make a decision tonight is absolutely paramount.
Okay. Councillor Herbert Coulson.
Could I, through the chair, ask Councillor Diffie and Councillor Purchase? Both of you spoke as if you've been speaking with the other partners in Bude Climate Partnership. Whereas I just wondered if you had, because you both sounded as if you have.
Councillor Purchase.
Yes, well, as the BSCC representative on Bude Climate Partnership, I've been involved in partnership meetings, since I was selected for that in May, since Christmas. So since the post-Christmas period, we've had 4 meetings with the partners. So I've been involved in all of those. Yeah, so with the latest one being last Monday.
No, I just wondered whether it's part of your role as Sustainable Bude.
Sustainable Bude isn't one of the partners in Bude Climate Partnership. It's as my lead councillor role.
Yes.
I'm going to go to Councillor Colwell, put his hand up, and I'll come back to you, Councillor.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of points. It must be terribly frustrating for people who've come along tonight to kind of get an understanding of this and really not be able to fully understand what's going on, because a lot of it we can't talk about. But I tell you now that even if you knew the stuff we couldn't talk about, you still wouldn't have much of an idea of what's gone on, because the way this thing has been structured from the very beginning is that all of us sitting around the table haven't really got our heads around the dynamics of the Bude Climate Partnership and how things have happened. This is the weakness of this kind of structure, where you have a political organisation like the Bude-Stratton Town Council, and then you have another organisation which is sort of quasi-public, private. It's a bit of a company, but it's a bit of a community organisation. And really, the frustration of knowing what's going on has been very deep for many of the members around this table. So I share your frustrations in this, although I have, high regard for the principle that we should be trying to build resilience. Now, my early suggestion was that we do make a decision tonight, that we make a decision to put the Climate Partnership on notice that we're not going to be lead partner anymore, and give them the opportunity to find another lead partner. Now, it seems to me that if we instantly withdraw as lead partner, that stops, my understanding is that stops all the activities of the partnership.
No, it's not so.
No, it's not so. Okay, then I withdraw my suggestion.
To be precise, if you withdrew the project,
yeah,
to withdraw the project stops it immediately. To withdraw from the partnership means that something will have to be resolved by the lottery at their next panel meeting.
Then I would.
Point of order, the
Hold on, excuse me.
The email
No,
said.
stop.
The email
No,
said.
please
that-
stop, councillor.
that
Councillor, please stop.
Projects would be
Councillor,
suspended.
will you please stop?
No, the email.
I need,
said
no,
that
first
projects
off,
would be
councillor,
suspended
councillor,
Straight away.
councillor,
Check with.
excuse
check
me,
with the town
excuse me,
clerk.
councillor. When you say a point of order, you need to mention what the actual point of order is on a standing order. And also, now the thing is, I might be inclined to allow your point of order, but I would like to say that when you say point of order, I'd like time to process and consider what it is you might say, not you suddenly launch into saying something. And when I ask you to stop talking as chair, I would like you to stop talking. So give me a chance to explain to you why I'm asking you to stop talking. Okay? To answer your question, I will read it out. If we withdraw as lead partner, this would result in the project being suspended by the lottery. While they work out what to do, it would go to their panel meeting in March. So the people involved in the lottery, the people employed by the lottery, by BCP, would still be employed by BCP. If, as lead partner, BSTC decides to withdraw the project, it is shut down pretty much with immediate effect. Councillor Jennings, you had something to say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people can't be told everything, which is ridiculous. How can they know what we're talking about if they can't be told the whole facts? But that's how it is. But if we don't get away from this lot, we're going to be dragged down without them. I mean, people haven't got a good word from what a lot of people haven't got a good word for this climate lot. And if we're going to get any more involved in it, we're just going to be dragged down with them. If it wasn't for the staff of this council, what the hell would they have done for the last 2 years? Just by the looks of his eyes, see, they couldn't even run a bath, let alone anything else.
Interesting metaphor.
Perhaps have his hand up free.
Yeah. I'll come to you in a minute, sir. Just like Councillor. So no, I'm ever so sorry. I'm a bit. Councillor Alsbury-Watkins, and I'll come back to you, Councillor Moores.
I've got a couple of questions. One, I wondered if we could know why there is no representative from BCP or any word from BCP here today.
Yeah.
It's written anybody.
Would have been maybe helpful. And my second question is, if we withdraw as lead partner, does that mean we are still a partner? We're still involved with them?
I don't know. Is the answer. I can't answer. Clark, do you have a clue to that? I have no. I think it's a moot point. The project is suspended while we're waiting a decision.
Correct. I mean, the reason that we are involved is because we were requested to take on this role of lead partner. So it's not as if we are a community group that have been invited anyway as a partner and then been stepped up to a lead partner. So it's just kind of, yeah, we will be leaving, I think, in our together.
Oh, yeah, done. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
It would depend on the wording of the
Yeah.
motion and resolution, effectively.
That's what I was asking, because
Sorry,
it says withdraw as lead partner, but withdraw as...
Yeah, the thing is, in the realm of don't know. I mean, my original answer was I don't know, and that's where we are.
We went with option one there, withdrawing as lead partner. That's not withdrawing from the partnership, is it? Depending on how we word it.
I think the only way that we are.
So you can either crunch the project or we can withdraw from the
personally, my view is.
Sorry, I'm talking out of turn.
Yeah, and I'm talking off the top of my head, just giving my individual view here. In my head, if we withdraw as lead partner, we exist in the original agreement document purely as lead partner. and therefore withdrawing as lead partner, we cease to be lead partner. That's it. And that is our role as partner.
Right.
That is my personal view. That is not backed up.
We just need to word it carefully, don't we?
Yeah.
Just on that, my recollection was that the Bude-Stratton Town Council was a partner in the original bid, because it was not with very much to do, but it was thought to be, it would help the bids succeed if the Town Council was a partner.
Yeah, I'm inclined to, yeah.
Well, we'd have to word some. Yes, I take your point. Tricky, sticky. Councillor Moores.
This was my point, actually. To withdraw as a lead partner still leaves you as a partner. But having said that, the agenda item is to terminate the partnership arrangement. So that covers either lead partner or partner, in my opinion. So the clerk would have to advise on that, but whether there's an amendment to that resolution or proposition, then so that's.
Yeah, I want to speak before we go into thinking about proposals and whatever and the rest. And I know other people still want to speak. I know as a member of the public who I will let speak because he was so patient. But I do just need to prioritise councillors, and I will come to you before I talk, definitely. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, just on that point, on the point of lead partner or partnered, my personal view is that it would be to the betterment of both parties if the council is minded to withdraw from the lead partner arrangement. It is my view that it would be better for both parties if the council stepped away fully.
Okay.
If the council is so minded.
Councillor Diffing.
Just clarification, if that's okay. If we resolve to withdraw as lead partner, does that freeze the partnership in its current state, or does it allow the partnership to regroup, reform ahead of the lottery's meeting in March? So does it allow them to come back with an alternative proposal, or is everything? What I'm trying to get at is, one option is stopping things immediately, is another option just stopping it in 6 weeks' time? Or is there sort of room for change with other partners before the lottery meeting in March?
I have to be careful about what I say because I will potentially drift into the realms of my opinion. Clark, do you want to say anything before I do?
Yeah, so the conversation I had with the lottery yesterday, which is when I found out for the first time exactly what the different options were, my understanding is that if the council were to withdraw as the lead partner, then that would, as I mentioned, sort of suspend the situation, and the lottery would then endeavour to have a conversation with the partnership to see what might be possible, but that would have then nothing at all to do with town council, and whether or not that was a viable, if there were any sort of viable options to pursue, which is questionable, but yeah.
I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question of Councillor Purchase, so if you could just hang fire a minute. Councillor Purchase, so that I don't drift into the realms of opinion and I have stepped away from BCP now, and a whole bunch of stuff has happened that I know nothing about. How likely do you think, well, it's a bit of an opinion thing, are partners considering searching for another lead partner at this point?
Yes, they are, yeah. There's been some suggestions from partners who have got a considerable amount of experience in the charity and CIC sector about other kind of lead partner arrangements that we could approach. I mean, the partnership was in a situation where it was firmly told that it could not make any changes to the structure of the partnership while while the HR situation was unfolding. So no effort was made to try and change the structure of the partnership. But if this council stops being lead partner, then the partners understand that that gives them then to actually become the lead partner. But up until that point, there has been clear instructions that no such search or effort should be made.
Councillor Roy.
I'm going to stray into opinion again here, I'm afraid, which is what you said you were trying to avoid.
I have to be careful with
yeah. The opinion that I'm forming is that the relationship feels like it's over anyway, and that we would be doing Bude Climate Partnership something of a favour to withdraw, because it will give them the opportunity to show their ambition, to carry on their business, and to seek out a new lead partner. And if they're not able to do that, then perhaps the curtains are closing anyway.
Okay. Councillor Daw, before I come to you, you've had quite a few words at the cherry, and there's a gentleman over here that wants to say something. So I said I would let him speak before I said anything. And when I speak, I don't want you to think, oh, I'm wrapping it up. But I do want to say something. I want everybody to hear.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. First thing I'd like to say, I would like to thank Councillor Hannah for very brave words. I'm aware of his position, and I appreciate what he said to me. So thank you for that. What you said, I've not been clear on, and it seems as if other councillors aren't clear either on what the implication is moving forwards. Now, I've said quite clearly that I think most of the projects that the New Climate Partnership have promoted do nothing to save this town from being flooded. In my view, protecting this town from water is a far more pressing issue than making our carbon footprint zero. Okay, let's be practical. There was £2 million to be practical. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of it has been spat on nonsense. However,
excuse me.
Yeah.
Could I just ask you to watch your language? I know a previous Prime Minister used that.
Yeah.
Listen,
this money is in the town.
Yeah.
The organisation could have been an absolute flagship for this town. It could have done so much good. I think there is a very sharply focused problem that we are all aware of, why the greatest good has not been done by that climate partnership. Now, the implications of Bude-Stratton Town Council withdrawing as lead or withdrawing completely, I'm not clear on, despite everything that's been said, and I think there's a bit of confusion around the table. I still think it would be a great shame if that lottery money disappeared and the potential good, the very best of the people that have the very best interests of this town in mind was lost. I don't know how it can be rescued. Councillor Purchas's mention of another lead partner, I think, is potentially quite interesting. Because I cannot see, as far as I'm concerned, you were hampered. You needed the power of veto as a lead partner, and you weren't treated fairly. And one of you in particular was treated very unfairly, which I think is disgraceful. This council was not treated fairly by the climate partnership. This is a great shame, because if that relationship worked properly, this town could be a flagship in this country. And it's a real shame that we're not. And the reason that we're not is quite a personal one, which is a great pity. So,
thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I'm going to say something now, and thank you, councillors, because many councillors around the table have said things that I myself have thought, and therefore I don't have to say them. 6 months ago, we found ourselves in a situation whereby, as lead partner, we understood that we needed to make all reasonable endeavours to keep the project going and support the partnership that's written within the documents of agreement that go there. And I have to say to you, over a period of 6 months, we've made all unreasonable endeavours to keep this going. We have done really well at managing staff in terms of pressures that were put on staff, and we've used staff at certain times and then we've withdrawn them and the rest, and attempted to minimise the amount of effect that it's had upon the council. But it is true that a lot of time has gone into this. I have to say to you, there have been times when I have been communicating via email at midnight before I go to bed, and then waking up in the morning and replying to emails. And that's gone on and on and on. And I am not fully involved in this. I would like to praise the vice chair or the ex-vice chair of the partnership, who put a huge amount of energy into this. I have had conversations with the vice chair and other officers when they're in airports, waiting to get on plane, picking up people from airports and stopping off in motorway service stations. I've had discussions with people when they've been unwell. A lot has been put into this. I have to praise the staff of BCP for working in very difficult conditions. No matter what you think of BCP, workers can only do what they're directed to do. You know, they have pursued the objectives that have been provided for them in difficult circumstances. I want to say a little something about secrecy. And one of the problems with this arrangement is that we're a town council with a lead partner and with a town council. And if the lead partner was not a town council, many of the questions that are raised about secrecy or accusations of secrecy or hiding stuff would not arise, because it would be a business that was part of this, and they would be used to certain confidential matters or certain people knowing and certain people being excluded from knowledge for a whole bunch of operational reasons. But we're a town council, and councillors need to know. They just do, because how can they do their jobs? And it's a terrible balance. And there have been many times when I have said to councillors, I wish I could tell you, but I cannot. I cannot comment on certain things. And that's a difficulty that in good times, with good governance in BCP, we would get through. And one of the fundamental problems with BCP, and BCP were aware of this, they were nearly there at moving into organising their governance in a major way, is governance. And that's a really fundamental concern for me. And it's a small organisation, but there have been historical difficulties with it, but these things are resolvable. They're resolvable through good governance, through people knowing the rules by which they work and live, and the relationships clearly defined on who makes decisions, who carries them out, all those sorts of processes. Policies are in place that deal with how decisions are made and the rest. And without those in place, it's my view that any organisation, whether it's a private organisation or a public organisation, is unsustainable. And, you know, one of the things is I'm predisposed to encouraging institutions. And I take your point, Councillor Colwell, that, you know, this is the problem with these sorts of organisations, but you work with the organisations you've got, you work with the circumstances that you face. And I'm all for encouraging and supporting institutions. And I think some of the things the town council has done have been brilliant in supporting the creation of institutions that will be able to improve the well-being and the community wealth. And I say all that kind of stuff quite regularly of Bude-Stratton. And so here's an institution which I look at. And when I look at institutions, I look at two things. I look at, is it a desirable thing? Is it a good thing? Is it a laudable thing? Are its intentions good? Is the potential of it good? And certainly the reputation of BCP outside of the town is good. There is some evidence that it attracts interest and potential investment into the town from all sorts of areas. And I am predisposed as you are, sir, towards things that will make us safe, basically, or attempting to make us safe in an uncertain world. So I think that those are good. But then the other thing I look at an institution is it practical? Is it sustainable? And I don't think it is. And that's where I am. I have approached this with an open mind, but it's been very interesting to hear other people's views, because I do have to say to you, one of the problems of knowing stuff that other people don't is you often sit quietly by yourself and you think about these things. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about these things. I know I'm not the only one that's done that. And you can't share them with people. And it's really interesting to hear people's thoughts, and in some ways to hear people saying things that I actually agree with. So that's where I am. Councillor Dorr.
That was a good speech. Good. But to follow on from your point about things like that, we can't say things, and that's been one of the most frustrating experiences of being a councillor, because when I got into this, I just, it was not going to be my thing. And if this meeting goes on much longer, I am literally going to tell every single person here what I know. So with that in mind, I'm literally,
as an ex-mayor,
because I am literally sat there looking at them, thinking of myself looking at a TV with a politician on it that won't tell the truth and the box crossing answer, And I'm now that person, and I can't do this much longer. So with that in mind, I'm going to make a proposal that BSTC withdraw from BCP. Not the project, we just remove ourselves from the project.
Okay, and that's quite clear. Do I have a seconder for that? I have a seconder. Okay. Yes, sir.
I just want clarity on this, because I don't think the proposal was quite as clear as we need it to be. Are we withdrawing as lead partner?
If we withdraw from the partnership, we'll be withdrawing from the partnership, yeah. So we withdraw as lead partner, however you want to term it, but not withdraw the project. So do not close the project. Let the lottery and BCP try to work out a way forward. Reading between the lines of what the mayor has said, who knows things that I don't, we might actually help them remove the problem, which we all know.
Go there, councillor.
Well, like I said, if it goes on much longer, I will. And I'll take the 60-page word salad I'll get in the morning.
I'll have 30 pages, you give the other 30.
Councillor.
Effectively.
Councillor Dorr. So you've made a proposal.
I'm about to go rogue, yeah.
Okay, so, sorry. What were you saying to me?
So I'm just saying we do need to actually clarify the wording.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Is it the agenda
Option
item,
one.
Michael?
You could make that as an amendment if you like. but
Okay, could you make the amendment? Councillor Four? Councillor Daw?
I'm proposing
Amendment.
An amendment to your proposal, which is to BSTC withdraw as lead partner from BCP.
would that leave us in the partnership?
Yes.
It's a moot point.
It's not. We're either in the partnership or we're not. So it's a critical point.
My reading of it would be, no, we wouldn't remain to be a partner. But what it would do is it would put the BCP into the position where the lottery is effectively managing their future.
Yeah, that was the intention of my
Doesn't close the
proposal.
project.
So that's why I said, but not close the project. So however we word it as BSCC withdraw or withdraw as lead partner, we are no longer in the partnership, but the partnership continues to exist and work with the lottery.
So I have an amendment.
Oh my God, an amendment to the amendments.
Can I just
Clark.
clarify? So there is a distinction here, because if we withdraw from the partnership, that means that we are not a partner in any form. We're also not lead partner. That's obvious. However, if we withdraw as lead partner and remain as a partner, for example, we would still have representation at the partnership, so our representatives would still attend. We are not partners in any shape or form. We do not have any representation on the partnership.
Yeah, my proposal was that we withdraw from the partnership. So we would no longer be represented at the table. We would no longer have them coming to us and tying up our staff. We would no longer be sat in a room where we're supposed to be having an open and honest discussion, completely unable to talk about it.
Quite well, Councillor. Councillor Broy, we have your amendment. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Broy's amendment? Councillor Colwell.
Well, my point was that if we do this thing, that is withdraw completely, we don't get the option. We just pull the plug. So by withdrawing as lead partner, we still allow BCP rather, to continue and to seek help from the lottery to find solutions, which they may or may not be able to do. Now, if technically...
I've had a proposal seconded. This isn't an amendment, it's a speech.
Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Councillor Daw, as I spoke to Councillor Purchase, if you wish to make a point of order...
Point of order.
Okay, now, okay, excuse me. If you make a point of order, you raise it, and you wait for me to acknowledge.
I'm sorry.
In theory, I should ask you to quote the standing order at me, but I'm not minded to do that. I just wish us to take good time. And you are, in some ways, you do make a good point. You do not want any speeches here. You have seconded it. I'm assuming that you are seconding.
I will second Councillor LeBroy's amendment and say no more.
Okay, right. So we have an amended proposal.
Could I just ask for clarity on exactly what it's bantered back and forth a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, to be precise, the present amendment, which is what we would vote for if there is no other proposals on the table for further amendments, we have an amendment which says to resolve to terminate, what was it? Can you give me the precise language?
BSTC withdraw as a lead partner from BCP.
Okay, so BSTC to withdraw as lead partner from BCP. If we followed that, the clerk has told us that the difference would be that we would still be in the partnership and still have a representation on the partnership board. If we left it as it was, the clerk has advised us then we would not have representation on the partnership board because we would not be in the partnership. Okay? So, are we clear on what we're voting on? Councillor Daw.
As it was an amendment to the proposal, and me and the second are not meant to agree to it without diving through the minutiae of standing orders.
No, the process is that if somebody puts an amendment and it's second, we vote on the amendment first. If the proposal with the amendment falls, then we vote on the original proposal.
So just for clarity, the amendment is to remain part of the partnership. The original proposal is to remove ourselves completely from the partnership.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Councillor Jennings, question?
Yeah, exactly. Explain to me what's going on, will you? Right. As I've got totally confused with this.
Okay, well, to be precise, Councillor Jennings, if you've been listening...
I was, but I didn't quite get it all.
Rather than talking at the other end of the table...
I wasn't. Right.
You would have heard. So what's going on is we have an amendment, Councillor Jennings.
Yeah.
In which we are voting to, or if we go to a vote, we're voting to stop being lead partner.
Mm-hmm.
But that amendment would mean that we would still, technically, remain in the partnership and have representation on the partnership. That is the amendment.
Yeah, that bit I got. But if we stay in, would we then be a minor partner?
Yes. Technically.
So if they brought somebody in above us, basically, then we would be having somebody else telling us what to do.
That's one way of looking at it.
Well, what is the other way of looking at it then?
Well, it's that you're in a partnership and you work in a partnership and the lead partner has certain more responsibilities than you.
Yeah, so they could bring in another lead partner who could then be sitting here dictating to us again.
Just further clarification, both of those, as we understand it, both of those outcomes suspend the project and pass it over to the lottery to...
Yes, that is the intention that Councillor Daw put into that.
Yeah,
to be clear.
That was what my opinion was.
So, councillors, I hope you all understand what it is you're going to vote for. So this is the amendment. All those in favour of the motion to the proposal to withdraw as lead partner from the partnership. All those in favour?
Take the amendment first, sorry.
It is the amendment we're voting on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I just phrased it differently than the...
Okay. So would you like to clap let me be clear, okay?
The proposal is that BSTC withdraw as lead partner from BSECP.
Okay. So all those in favour?
Yes.
Can you put your hands up clearly, please, so you can be seen? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 4.
Anybody on this side? Nobody on this side?
No.
So 4.
Okay, hands down. All those against?
Okay, so that's not.
That is not carried. That takes us to the original proposal. Could you repeat what the original proposal was? Hold on a second. Before you do, members of the public, I need you to not talk during this because this is obviously a really important moment in this meeting. Thank you. Yeah.
I think it was BSTC
withdrawal from the partnership.
from the partnership.
Yeah.
Withdraw, yeah, fully from the partnership.
No,
That's pretty,
from the partnership.
that's
Okay.
pretty better way to word it, fully from the partnership.
Yes. All those in favour?
Nine, 10, yeah, okay.
Yes, thank you. All those against?
3.
All those abstaining? Thank you. Councillors, that is carried. Okay, that is carried. Okay, so number 5, to receive items of correspondence from the clerk.
No.
There are none. Now, the last one is item 6, to note the date of the next meeting, which is Thursday, the 6th of February, 2025. This meeting is now closed.